Okay, enttäuscht mich nicht, ihr Köter. Enttäuscht mich ja nicht, ihr Köter.
There was a lot of silliness in that series. There were definitely some shenanigans.
Can we bring back the car analogies? Those were fun.
We might need more of the car analogies today. I'm going to go ahead and
Also hier First Bank mit Rise offen. Rise Pantheon ist nicht offen.
Let's go ahead and hop into our draft here because we do have the first round of bans already done. C9
Rise ist offen.
the Karma, the Orianna, the Pantheon. Over on the Disguise side, it's the Varus and Jarvan that remain ever popular alongside that APA Ziggs ban that just feels like attacks against C9 and Azir, the first pick for Disguise.
Seraphine.
I do like that they are just respect banning the Ziggs. That is something that just APA and overall C9 looks super comfortable playing. As we see that Ashe Seraphine bot lane immediately.
Ja, heute Interview mit Sven angefragt.
C9,
Nach den Series, wenn er mich ablehnt, dann jage ich ihn. Pray auf deren Downfall, persönlich.
To this, so you know, we'll see how well they can pilot that because the power of this Ashe Seraphine continues to kind of run rampant throughout not just the LCS but like all over, like globally.
Absolutely, and we do see pairs always locked in against it. This is a pair we've seen against it. We saw this at First Stand, we see it occasionally throughout the world, but you often actually see Nautilus banned early in the series when you're going to blind pick the Ashe Seraphine, so it'll make that bot lane fairly volatile. The more standard match would have been something like Karma Nami to go up against Ashe Seraphine, or Ezreal Karma, which had been banned away with the Karma ban, but the bot pairs seem more entrenched than ever when I see drafts on this patch.
Yeah, okay, so we've got the Xin Zhao and the Azir being the mismatched role picks so far here in the first half, while both sides absolutely have their bottom lane duos drafted. So I expect the second half of the bans to kind of reflect that, and sure enough, it does. It's mid lane bans from Disguise, as Rise will be the first target for them. C9 going to go ahead, take that Nocturne off the table, keep that away from Kryra.
But I think what's really interesting here is because the Jarvan and Pantheon were already banned, I look to me like C9 was going to try and pinch the AD.
Okay, starke First Free von C9, passt. So, die gehen den G2-Approach gegen Ashe Seraphine. Problem ist nur, die kriegen hier einen Jungler erst im 4-5. Das heißt, wir nehmen jetzt Nocturne raus, okay. Und dann passt es. Junge, schaut klar.
And our last ban here alongside the Rumble. From the Disguise side, they will remove the Yorick. They don't want that powerful...
Ja, Jace auf 4.
You have Ashe Seraphine as just kind of this...
Also die werden Jace blind, right? Das ist der hier, Jace blind.
4v4 situation. Having Yorick constantly marching down the side lane can be a real pain. C9 going to go ahead and lock in Cassiopeia for their mid lane.
Yeah, and Cass is something that we have also seen APA be very, very comfortable playing. It is one of his, like, many kind of comfort picks that previously was considered off meta is now somewhat of a response to his ear. The Zac is something that Kryra has pulled out as one of his like kind of again off meta like slightly wonky pocket picks. But we do see the Jace locked in instead.
Ja, Jace war obvious.
And now hovering the Volibear.
Well, Jace, remember,
Volibear sind sau ist ein gutes Matchup. Der ist Koreaner, darf das einlocken, das ist richtig. Was antwortet der andere Koreaner, Vertigo? Sprich mit mir. Yorick gebannt, Rumble gebannt. Was antwortet er auf Toplane? Ich.
Mundo makes a decent amount of sense. I will point out the reason.
Gesandte, weil er Koreaner ist. Was hättest du geantwortet?
Scouting Kryra is 0-4 all time.
Zion ist besser hier. Boah, du Pol.
And that's why they're able to open up the Rumble ban.
And another thing interesting about Mundo is Kryra was one of the junglers that I was thinking when the Mundo nerfs came down. I was like, okay, he is one of those junglers that I feel like will pilot the Mundo. DSG occasionally rely on this kind of scaling, so it's not, we'll see how significant it is. We've still seen Mundo play.
So, ihr bekommt 2 Minuten.
I still think there's a lot of
Draft ist sehr solid. Für Draft ist sehr, sehr solid.
If you look at some of the nerfs
passt.
And then Sion locked in as the last pick for C9, which kind of puts together this really nice team fighting comp, kind of propelled with this Ashe Seraphine.
It does, and they're going to have to be able to find windows to group and team fight. I do find it funny how this game they're throwing Sion in the top lane where they played Sion in Game 3 mid lane last series, and APA said, I get mad every time we let Thanatos play Sion because then I can't collect the free win on the mid Sion. But clearly he's not on the same page as everybody else. They like the look here with the Sion into the MF and specifically the Jace because he can get early armor against a Mundo who's not going to be a huge gank threat. So makes sense for the top lane in this game.
Plus, I always like when you have Seraphine on your team, if you have multiple frontliners that can facilitate the encore going further, blasting through the entirety of the enemy squad, and I think Sion and Zinja are great champions to facilitate that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you think in the mid game that Sion and Zin are difficult to kill? Well, wait until they have a Seraphine behind them,
Abfahrt.
them up, and like you said, using that extra range to
Fick mich
get
nicht.
a really good Seraphine ult off.
All right, let's do it. Getting on to Summoner's Rift for the first time today. Best of 3, C9 versus Disguised. And I think that
So, relativ Standard. Mundo clear schneller als ein Sensor. Das heißt, sie können auf jeden Fall into Bot dann reinspielen.
is just how oppressive it can be. So there is going to be pressure on Sajet and Lions to try to find something here with this Nautilus pick that's meant to be able to punish it, meant to be able to all in.
Absolutely. It's also Vulcan's first career Seraphine game, but it's only a matter of time with the Enchanter meta and Vulcan preparing for the future. Friendly chat, I think that's more of a checking to see if all chat is on and whether or not he should waste energy in the
okay.
Ah.
Fair.
Hallo?
That makes sense.
Hallo? Okay, wir lassen uns gucken, okay.
So coming into this match,
Kommen wir für den Barrier Trade, okay.
things to look at is the jungle in particular, right? You're looking at Blabber being one of these all
Dogs.
great North
Also.
American junglers, and you're looking at Kryra coming in as this guy who's really got to prove himself now. So we've got the blasting cycle that has occurred so far here in the LCS. Remember that Blabber blasted Griffin when they played in all of those series back-to-back, like going head-to-head back in first stand in split 1, but then Griffin just last weekend blasted Kryra, right? Like just completely took over the series, took him out of the game, took all his Raptors. So now the question is, where does the blasting one aim from here? Can Kryra turn this into a Pokemon type of situation where each one counters one of the others in a circle? Or is this just going to be a line straight from Blabber through everybody else?
Das wäre natürlich angefragt, ja.
Wake of destruction.
Yeah, circle of blasting or like a blast hierarchy.
Yes.
Trickle down blastonomics.
There will be
Was?
blastonomics, but we don't know how they're going to function in this economy.
Well, thus far, there's been no crazy level 1 shenanigans, right? Like, we didn't have any sort of invade. Blabber does have something that Kryra doesn't in this game, which is Ash Vision. The bane of, the bane of all, like, early junglers who have to go up against a team with an Ash on it. And as we see that bot lane 2v2 just kind of firmly pushing in on the bot side. And both
Guck dir runter. Ja, erneut, du willst halt into, du willst hier reinspielen, right? Seraphine gegen Nautilus, das heißt, du musst ganken, damit du herkommst, du musst ganken. Hast du Big Value, oder? Decent Value. Nicht so geil gegen den hier, nicht so geil gegen den hier.
The Ash Seraphine should be able to bully pretty hard. So we'll see what happens here with the first crab, because Kryra is in river quite early, and Blabber is approaching, so trying to get a gank off here.
All right, APA is under pressure. Kryra coming in, trying to punish some of that all-chatting so far. Immediately pops the heart stopper, but still takes a lot of...
Was macht der? Was macht der?
HP flashes back out as Call Me.
Was machst du?
Flash auto attack. Call Me shuts him up and sits him. The Azir, however, about to get punished now as Blabber swoops into the mid lane. Flash for the win becomes lightning, guarantees the counter kill. Kryra can at least secure this topside scuttle crab and get away.
So really interesting there. It was very greedy from APA, but I feel like that was him and Blabber trying to pull off something impressive, because he knew he could get a ton of damage down onto the Mundo, and then Blabber probably thought he had a double crab angle right there, but APA gets a little bit too greedy, ends up taking too much damage and dies, but Blabber comes in to secure the cleanup kill.
Yeah, as we see, Kryra definitely saw his window, and Blabber's all the way down in the river, but kind of already headed up, and APA gets so much damage here, thinks he'll be able to flash out. Call Me finishes him up, and then Blabber's here to clean up the kill onto Call Me. Kryra does end up getting that top scuttle crab, and then Blabber got the bottom one too, so they still did split crabs off of that.
Ends up being pretty good for Kryra, all things considered, because his mid gank technically worked to get his mid laner a little bit ahead, and also burned the flash of APA. So not much ends up coming of what was a pretty crazy looking play.
I also like burning the flash off of the Cassiopeia, considering the mid laners are about 1/3 of the way to level 6, and we know that once Azir hits level 6, if the jungler shows up and the enemy mid laner does not have mobility to get out after he's already shuffled, all Call Me has to do is just find that angle for the shuffle, and boom, you've got another easy kill.
Yeah, and it'll be curious to see whether either jungler is going to pay attention to these mid laners here, because they are now both flashless.
Call me forced back a little bit here. Does have to be careful about that consistent APA damage, but both junglers once again looking towards the mid lane. Gonna find one another here in the river. Blabber immediately jumps towards Kryra, but not getting a whole lot of value out of that one. Kryra just again trying to make sure that Blabber cannot interfere with anything here. Call me just a minion or two away from level 6. Surely APA recognizes that by looking at his own EXP bar. Has to be careful here about the potential Emperor's Divide.
Yeah, APA wants to bluff a little bit because if
Ist fein. Er wartet nur auf 5:30. Ne? Das ist hier alles Timer von Kryra. Jetzt kann er zurückgehen. Oh. Ja, Rede. Ja.
Yeah, Lions
Ja.
use the heal there.
Flash vor.
And the Nautilus has to flash away and Sven's ready to flash follow.
Mach ein bisschen mehr Damage, bitte.
Just take him down.
Reicht.
2v2. The Ash Seraphine doing exactly as they please down here. Sven, he might just get the second kill and he doesn't even die.
That's my boy. Yeah, that's my boy.
Sven Vulcan.
That's my boy.
Sven just gliding on him right
Sehr
there.
schön.
Perfect aggression from Vulcan.
That's my boy.
Even the
Sehr gut.
half step back to avoid the damage from the Nautilus E ends up being really crucial in that extended trade, because if he takes any little tick of damage, it would be a trade back instead of now 2 kills to 0 in the 2v2.
Yeah, and this should give them really, really nice bot side control, despite the fact that Lions and Kryra are now kind of hanging out, potentially stopping any sort of Drake take since C9 did have to reset.
Yeah, so they're trying to get a little bit of tempo back, but even this is just Kryra's level 6, and then he can't stick around for that long because I don't feel like DSG is strong enough to just go for clearing, and Kryra's trying to swoop, gets it.
Okay, nice job there from Call Me, setting up APA. Kryra needs more damage here with the play, though. One more auto attack might be able to do it, and there you go. That's what I said earlier.
Es ist okay.
No flash, you punish with a zero ulti.
Yeah, and really good recognition of that small
Es ist
window,
okay.
like Jat set up, right? Like they had
Es ist
to
okay.
reset after the bot lane kills came out. DSG kind of hung around
Es ist okay.
to establish, got that Scuttle Crab down, and then took advantage of that. But here is that bot lane 2v2, like you said, Jack.
Yeah, notice the hawk shot early into the bush to get the original vision, then the ward for the extra vision, and then extending the trade right here. Sajed just loses vision until Sven decides to hit him back one more time.
Yeah.
Potion running, Sajed doesn't have...
Mit seinen scheiß Berserkers braucht 30 Autotext für den Nautilus.
Yeah, and here's just...
Ja, ist halt die Wave, wo du respekten musst, ne?
Flashless
Respekten.
mid laner.
Respekten musst.
APA does end up getting his ultimate off, but Kryra is still able to clean him up off of that. So just really nice recognition of the timing windows, seeing that DSG do have an opportunity to get something back and punish that flashless mid laner.
Yeah, that was the one place where they could really go on the map. So APA does need to play more conservative in those situations. The Scion is completely safe, already with the plated steel caps up against the Jace. And honestly, the bottom lane has a 25 CS advantage, and it's so difficult for Mundo to rescue that bot lane. So Calmy's absolutely right to talk his trash, because APA's killing him is their only current plan in the early game.
Wie groß war das Erdbeben bisher?
Calmy can just kind of become
geht.
monstrous along
Aber außer APA stirbt nochmal.
for mid to late.
Und wird dann nochmal BM'd.
He is kind of has become kind of their
Also ich spiele halt nicht, also diese MF Nautilus Lane, du musst ganken.
some of these mid to late game teams.
Right, das ist eine Kill-Lane gegen Ash
I
Seraphine.
am glad that we had the little
Aber diese Kill-Lane braucht auch ein bisschen Hilfe,
I'll chat on.
um herzukommen.
We're gonna talk a little trash back and forth.
Okay, so right now, Blabber, you can see he's starting up his first Drake 8 minutes into the game, so not particularly fast on that one, but look at the gold spread on the scoreboard. It's about over a 2,000 gold lead just in the bottom lane duos of C9, while the top side of
Das war eine Beleidigung, oder?
for Disguise, so C9 playing around
Das war eine Beleidigung gerade, ne? Das war eine Beleidigung, oder?
He should be able to take this no problem.
They have them completely jailed in that bot lane right now, and
Ich
part of it is
wurde gerade, als er mir Geld gegeben hat, beleidigt.
the Nautilus MF into Ash Seraphine. That's already a hard matchup, but it will be able to win in 3v3s. It's just Mundo's never going to help the 3v3, and now they're getting punished.
How about a 3v2 as
Gut gespielt.
immediately Blabber is ready to set this up. There's the encore of the top through everybody like I was talking about back in Champs.
Reset it and kill your dogs.
Makes it
Ja.
so easy for Sven and Vulcan, and Disguise's bottom lane is just crumbling to pieces.
And I love this out of C9, following the Drake take, recognizing that they can apply pressure. The bot lane's going to be coming back to lane, grouping up with Blabber and being able to get that kill en route as DSG were trying to reset.
Gute Jungs.
Conversations about whether or not enchanters are overplayed, because in the past right now, even after the first double kill, when that MF Nautilus respawn, they're running top lane and the Jace is running bot lane, and they're trying to reset the map a little bit. But once you lose control of bot lane now, that kind of stuff can just happen to you. They can't contest Drake, they're jailed under their turret, you can't even contest your own Gromp, and they can just dive you on your way back to the lane. They make a bad situation worse, and there's no escape because these teams don't want to leave their role quests uncompleted.
Yeah, and as we see Cryer taking those grubs, that's kind of like the little concept.
Ist nicht gut für Tempo. Selbst wenn du den Auto-Sister killst, dann ist awkward, weil dann kommt die MF zurück zu Lane, dann musst du die auch cheesen, aber dann bist du behind in Tempo. Das heißt, auf lange Sicht hinweg gesehen, ist es tatsächlich nicht worth it, da die Wave extra zu stayen. Ist ein bisschen Overkill.
Can we get this Azir into a situation where he can potentially maybe be in a position to rip through late game team fights? It's still going to be difficult because, again, you are going against Ashe, Seraphine, and then a Sion, Xin who are all going to be incredibly difficult to kill.
And you mentioned the Sion. We haven't really checked in on top lane because really nothing has happened there.
He just landed a Q flowers.
Yeah, they both.
Wie sieht es bei Furia Vitality aus?
So far,
Update da bitte.
is pretty much exactly
Ist das Ding an der Wand schon, oder?
Jace is up a wave or two of minions. It's not really that much. Call me, though, taking a lot of damage from APA's Twin Fangs here. As soon as you're caught on that miasma, the slow just makes it so Cassio can land so much damage. APA still down just about 3 waves of farm here in the mid lane. Call me still with that 1,000 gold lead on his Azir. Does have to take the reset. Completes his Nashors. Now he's ready to TP back towards the mid lane, but again, it's Blabber, Vulcan, and Sven in the enemy jungle. Putting the harass on.
Passt nicht.
Swooping around from the side. This might be the punish.
Oh Gott, oh Gott.
C9 overcommitting towards a Mundo.
Not gegen Elend. Passt.
And Disguised have to complete their retreat out.
F10 2 Map 1:50.
Comes out on top yet again. We aren't quite done. Now hold on. Blabber. This time he's getting hooked in. The big bullet time over the top.
Wow, zum Glück macht die Map kein Damage.
Blabber's on a killing spree.
Okay, passt.
For even more. Nothing they do works. Disguise dies yet again.
I guess C9 just wins 3 versus 4. That's just the game right now. Absolutely crazy here. You thought when Blabber goes over this wall and Call Me with Nashor's Tooth Power Spike flies in behind, they're gonna win. We'll say nice stun into flash by Sven so he doesn't take damage from the Azir, and everyone just turns to focus. Very well played 3v4, which is usually a disaster by C9 because they switch targets so effectively.
Yeah, and then when they do try to follow up with the MF ult here, immediately are able to turn on to Sajed, and everything really falls apart for DSG now because...
Okay, nice guys. Really good. Going to base now.
Sehr gut. Ja, war das Gassen von Call Me natürlich. Oh Gott. Oh Gott. Losgelassen, okay, losgelassen.
We also saw during the picture-in-picture of the replay, Thanatos almost got solo killed by Castle up underneath this tier 1 turret. Both of the top laners did have to flash for that one. Now we could have yet another fight up here in the top side jungle. Blabber between Lions and Cry right here, but he doesn't seem to mind.
Okay, es passt. Enchanter mit Enchanter. Easy.
Could be the sacrifice. Blabber again with an audacious charge. Forces the flash over the wall from the Mundo.
Oh Gott. Oh Gott.
Castle's coming in, wants to finish off the kill, but now Lions.
Das macht Lions. Das macht Blabber.
Does DPS and a Call Me to prevent him from being able to enter into the fight. The shutdown on
Oh mein Gott.
as Castle picks it up.
Oh mein Gott, what are we doing?
But a double kill back over to Castle. Lions barely stays alive in Disguise.
Oh.
Over aggressive there by C9. They are
Guys.
before. This ends up being kind of a 3.5v5.
Guys.
Jed could redeploy after dying bot lane, Emily.
Yeah, and Thanatos is unable to fight, right? So as we see
500 Targets.
is TPing in on the back half of this, he'll be able to come around for a flank.
Wussten wir, dass die TP Advantage haben?
We are also both trying to rotate up.
Yeah, maybe they didn't see the Castle TP, and then he also walked over what was control warded. Now that they see him, it's kind of toast, because if they knew where Jace was, I don't think Blabber would ever chase through the red buff, and everyone would exit down through Call Me. But that was ending up being a very effective flank by Castle's Jace.
Yeah. Really nicely done by Castle, who is kind of the other power point that DSG have potentially on this map. And, you know, that flank saves them a bit. I do still think it's going to be very difficult for DSG as long as C9 are kind of traveling in this pack, especially Blabber with the Ashe Seraphine behind him, because even in that fight that they ended up losing and it was very over-aggressive and the Jace TP ended up kind of cooking them a bit, you saw how long Blabber survived.
And you can see on your screen right there, Sajed's stats, career 7-0 on Misfortune, 700 DPM average.
Und Mino, danke für den 9.
The bit of the anomaly, having to deal with the Ashe Seraphine, not having control in the lane, lost his footing early, and hasn't really been able to recover that, as now that bottom lane control for C9 leads to yet another Drake take.
Mit Teddy 13 gewonnen.
Of
FF.
this game, they've controlled both so far. Meanwhile, Call Me should at least be able to take this tier 1 turret up here in the top side. Single auto attack should knock it over, but no, APA arrives in time and somehow keeps the turret standing. Feel like Call Me probably could have taken that one if he wanted to, but all right, C9 holds it.
Yeah,
Whoop, now here, maybe this is what they wanted after all. APA gets shuffled back towards Kryra, but now the big arrow from across the map from C9 guarantees the hit on the Call Me, guarantees Thanatos can make that a 1-for-1. Meanwhile, C9's just gonna take yet another neutral objective. Blabber has total control over the Herald.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're just casually also just taking Rift Herald at the same time. Really nice arrow as a finisher from Sven to get that on.
Alright, danke für den 7.
It seems like
Reicht.
anytime DSG, like APA coming in to save the turret.
Warum steht meine Casio 0-4?
We can make a play onto this
Piece of
Casio,
shit.
End up doing so, but the rest
Reicht.
of C9 are still ready to collapse.
I'll also say, though, if I'm Dominant Arrow sitting in the back room watching this game, hi guys, first. Secondly, I'm really concerned with how things are going based off how well things went in the bottom lane, because Castle just picked up a full turret. He's 2-0. He's going to have a really strong poke onto their squishies. And then this, Thanatos able to avoid this one, but the most perplexing thing to me here is, like, APA keeps playing so aggressively. Like, he's 1,500 gold down onto this Azir, and Call Me's letting you push him back. Aren't you a little suspicious as to why that might be happening? And then Kryra comes in and kills him once again. It's like all these things is like, wow, how could this Casio, who's so far behind, get all these like good trades and be like, he's posturing so much, but he's been punished 4 times at this point for the 0-4, and that's part of what's keeping this game very close.
All right, Rift Herald summoned up by C9 here in mid lane. No driver on.
So, das Problem ist, meine Casio hat bei Minute 17 immer noch keinen. Checkt ihr das Problem? Minute 17 noch kein Rod of Ages gefinisht.
Leave this one on the autopilot. It's like one of those Waymos, whatever they are, the robot driving cars here in LA. Yeah, that's a Waymo Rift Herald. It just automatically
just
drives
like, let it
itself
go.
exactly where it's supposed to be. It hits the target. It's good to go. C9's going to go ahead and pick up turret number 2 there in mid. Still only 1,000 gold ahead as a team, like you're talking about, Jat. Your bottom lane has a 3K gold lead between the two of them.
Hallo?
Now it's DSG moving into
Hallo, dürfen die das machen?
looking to maybe start a fight of their own. Vulcan
Ich wollte gerade sagen. Gut, Punish. Ja, perfekt. Sehr gut. Machst auch noch Flyquest nachher? Ja.
Lions has to flash out now too. DSG falling back towards the river. Castle over the wall.
Was? Laberst du? Was? Okay, ich dachte, er hat da geintet mit dem Flash rüber. Wow, Enchanters imbalanced. Wow, Enchanters imbalanced.
Plans completely crumble. Thanatos charging in, trying to slow down Lions. And with the backup from the Seraphine, they're going to get another. That's going to be 4 dead when it's all said and done. DSG, they thought they had it, but all they had was a one-way ticket to the fountain.
Kann er jetzt theoretisch carryen?
And I really love the team fight targeting that's coming out of C9 into this, recognizing, okay, arrow onto Sajed. He still ends up
ja, theoretisch.
Kryra takes a
Von
lot of damage, and even though he's
leicht ist es nicht.
surviving as the Mundo, this ends up being.
Ist er da rüber geflasht oder hat er nicht in die, oder war das, weil er hier so komisch in der Wand hier drin war, dass er nicht rüber. Er ist auf jeden Fall geflasht, aber das sah komisch aus, oder nicht?
Who's looking for another Jace flank.
Look, Mundo, guys, Mundo's inting, Mundo's inting. Okay.
Hey, Curry, ganz viel Liebe für die Bits.
Mundo's inting.
By the way, Blabber's favorite thing to do is say the other jungler is inting.
Ja, wenn er erst die ganze Zeit ist.
From last week, he said that all the time against Hambach. Someone is always inting on Blabber's screen. But I'll say Castle, to me, was the one inting that team fight. Because I thought it looked fine until he tried the flank. And now, you know, maybe it's Lions.
I think Lions.
Okay, jetzt explodiert die Map. Super.
Killing spree for free on that one, and Call Me should be able to get away here. I don't really see how Vulcan could be able to catch him by himself. So still though, 3,500 gold lead for C9. It's rough out here, guys. There's your arrow. Oh, now Call Me. I don't think you get away from that one. Call Me. He uses the ulti. He stays alive with a flash twin bang from APA. Finishes the job.
APA with a little tip-in shot on the Casio at the end. Sven's arrows in this game have been really, really nice. Really well communicated. I'm going to assume that's like not just Sven being good, but an overall team thing. But again, whenever one of these DSG players is isolated, they have to watch out for this group of Blabber with the Ashe Seraphine behind him because he can just survive.
Anti-Laufhunde war noch nicht gebaut? Nee,
and
ich glaub
get
nicht.
on their priority target.
And here we go again. Kryra's your target, and he's just going to go ahead and walk away from this one. I think the story of this game, if you couldn't tell just by looking at the individual gold leads, the kill participation, 11 out of 15 for Sven, 13 out of 15 for Vulcan, only 4 for APA. You've got 9 for Blabber because he's been helping that bottom lane out a lot too, and then only 5 for Thanatos. So really so much from the bottom lane of C9 this game.
Yeah, play for bot, play through bot with the Scion top lane. That's exactly what's happening. But now third Drake, Soul Point, C9 first to set up, which is exactly where the Ashe Seraphine wants to be.
Okay, Disguise looking for their entry angle instead. Kryra going to lose about half HP, but the same for Blabber. Thing is, Blabber has Seraphine to keep him healed up. He's got the rest of C9 around him, so they can try to secure this, immediately move to Soul Point with it, and sure enough they will. Castle with a Shock Blast won't get anything.
There's not a real way for DSG to walk in and start that fight, especially when you have a Glacial Augment level 8 Nautilus with 1 item. So that is your frontline engage currently. You don't have an engage, but actually C9, I think
start.
straight over to this Baron is a little bit bold, but I do like the play.
Ja, TP-Force ist gut.
Yeah, they've got 4,500 gold lead. They've got Seraphine to keep everybody healthy with shields and heals around.
Ja, TP-Force ist gültig.
Is going to walk up, try to make his way towards this, but it's
Ja.
1/3 of its health.
Was?
C9
Hallo?
the Baron for now, slowing DPS a little bit, but no, it looks like we're going to go ahead and
Hä?
burst it. C9 takes the Baron.
Jetzt TPen wir?
Bullet time doesn't do a whole lot over the wall.
Was macht mein Zinsau?
Through two. They want to try to use Castle to kill off Blabber, but DSG again don't have the damage. The Zinjao stays alive as APA goes into killing spree. Jet under pressure yet again as Thanatos has made his way into the back line, and Decimating Smash does just that.
Okay.
Everybody on Disguise dies. They trade.
Ich habe den goldenen Scoop gezogen.
What's it matter? It's a
War das denn jetzt 500 € Warengutschein?
just your mid laner. C9 will take it.
And they'll get
Glückwunsch.
so much more off the back
What the
of that
fuck?
Baron. Their mid and top waves are already pushed. They are
Yes, Glückwunsch.
right now and eating it too. And
W's.
DSG being out of sync as well, because a lot of times when you start Baron with 5 people just like this, you're trying to get the Jace TP, but then the fact that the Baron dies and then the Jace TPs anyway
GG.
into what is already a losing fight just makes things go from bad to worse for DSG.
Yeah, and I like that we ended up seeing that really nice Seraphine Scion combo off the back half of that fight, really making the most of how beefy Thanatos is, extending the range, getting...
Nur dank Count Opsi, sehr gut, jetzt direkt sofort subben.
And this,
Jetzt sofort
this
subscriben.
team comp can just now bulldoze through DSG, as if they couldn't already.
Yeah, and the Ashe having the healing reduction means that Kryra's Mundo isn't going to be getting giant...
Kannst direkt morgen ausgeben, actually.
He would be the one person who'd maybe...
Was heißt der goldene Scoop? Die haben irgendwie, was haben sie gegeben? 100 Mal goldener Scoop weggegeben oder sowas? Und dann kannst du irgendwie, da gehst du, glaube ich... Oh, sie danke für den 8. Liebe. Kriegst du, glaube ich, 500 € Gutschein.
On the Scion.
Und das haben sie 100 Mal ausgegeben.
Her career, actually, so yeah. He also, like, give him some of those wins, you know?
He's doing pretty good, and the point about the Mundo 2 Jet, not only is it the enemy has healing reduction, you're still only level 13.
15 Mal, den gab's nur 15 Mal. What the fuck?
And your team's already dead on top of it. Castle, that fed Jace, is already down. So Jet has to flash away just to avoid dying here himself. C9 honestly can probably just try to push for the win right here. They've got the Baron in power.
Dann kauf am besten morgen ein, actually. Weil morgen ist 25% immer noch. Gib direkt mal alles morgen aus.
But 1017 looks pretty fun.
Yeah, he's going to be having a great time. Anyway, Lions taking a little bit more damage here, but C9 not wanting to overcommit onto the Nautilus.
Boah, der kriegt den dritten. Oh, da kommt. Oh. Bonk.
Flying in from the left side. Lions flashes, barely stays alive himself. As Disguised, all hurt, but nobody dead here just yet, except for Castle, who's still reviving from the earlier pick. So the tier 3 turret dies in the bottom lane. Minion wave crashing into the tier 3 turret mid. Bottom lane inhibitor going to be your target now. C9 going after that one. It's a long-range TP from Call Me. This is Disguised's potential final full send, but C9 are just walking off to stage left anyway, as Disguised can't get in position to try to set up for Call Me's flank. He just ends up rejoining the rest of the same angle.
Ist mein Scion balanced?
Ultimately results in a whole
Komplett unkillable. Runde.
Jumping right back into the Lions here. Third talent strike connects. There's your win becomes lightning. Call me's next to die. The teleport didn't do a thing. Double kill for Blabber's Zen. Sajed finally falls. Kryra just barely hangs on here with the dog Mundo, but he's the only one left alive. The bottom inhibitor's already gone. The mid lane inhibitor's about to fall, and C9's on the victory march.
Playing with so much confidence, grouping up for the Seraphine heals to make them even more powerful. And then APA, 75% of the team's deaths, just for good measure at the end, before the end of the game.
We'll see if maybe they can kill the Mundo on the steps. Teams like to pad the stats sometimes, but Mundo is a little difficult to do it on. They might still make it happen. And Vulcan, yes indeed.
Wir haben den Zero bei mir ins Paket gelegt, nachdem das Zeug ist krass lecker. Ja, natürlich ist sie auch. Rede, GG. Ja, solid Game. Blabber und Bottom haben gut gespielt. Toplane war fein und Midlane ist reported.
He knew the chat was on the whole time, had to get that in there before he runs off to go to the next game. C9 dominate that game one.
Excellent, excellent stuff from C9 here in the first one. It's all about the bottom lane. I got to give my MVP for that one to Sven. What are you guys thinking, Lounge?
I'm thinking Sven. I'm thinking Sven looked pretty good right there. And also, I do love APA getting in with the all chat right at the end. Mid gap, clear mid gap, obviously. Yeah.
He's getting away with it.
But in terms of the bot lane gap, ooh, that did not live up. I was really hoping Sajed would have a better shot against Sven, and that abort that narrative. That is not what happened.
I mean, roll the clips. I just didn't understand even draft-wise what they were thinking with the Mundo pick. Because to me, if you're going to go Nautilus plus MF, the only way you're winning this 2v2 is with ganks, right? Yeah. Nautilus has really powerful gank assist. You bring down your Nocturne, you bring down your Vi, you bring down your whatever, and you gank. You spam, try to attack them and kill them. Because in the isolated 2v2, it's going to be impossible, and this is just insult to injury. I mean, Sven lived with no health.
Leveled up to 5, yeah.
And from there, they were already down 20 or 30 CS plus a double kill. There's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, like Lee Sin, Trundle, Vi, literally anything in which you can play towards this lane. Because like if you're playing, I like Nautilus MF in terms of just fighting for prio. You are fighting for prio, it's going to be a strong 3v3, but if you pick up Mundo, I don't really see it happening there. And also, literally level 1. We didn't show it, but literally the moment the hook came through, Barry came through from Ashe, and then like Nautilus gets chunked, it's like, okay, well, good luck the rest of the lane.
Even just like, not even just the Mundo, but like you're going Mundo Azir, so you have this like mid jungle who is just the most do nothing mid jungle, hoping to scale forever. So they can't even play towards bot side at all, and you're an isolated losing 2v2. I just feel like their draft made absolutely no sense.
It's funny you say that about the mid jungle, because that is kind of where DSG were able to get some advantages, and it was from the Mundo going mid. We also have some plays of that, because I feel like the mid differential, APA, we joked about it, like the mid
C9,
getting caught a lot.
1-0, passt.
Actually getting a lot of kills on the Azir.
Yeah, it was a
1-0, passt. Game war solid, Mid hat ein bisschen gefeedet, das ist okay.
APA thought he could maybe like trade into it and get a kill off of it. He just tried to fight through it. And I was like, okay, maybe not happening. So he made the initial mistake. He lost Flash, which makes it easier for Call Me now to set up like the Azir sec plays later on. So even though the kill gets traded here, it's a really bad lane condition and now state for APA to play under.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to me, it's like I look at this and I'm like, was that more of a Mundo killed you or you killed yourself, right? Like, because APA could have easily just walked away. I don't even know that he had to flash in the first one if he just walked straight out, but he stood and he tried to go for this, you know, kind of 1v2 outplay, and it didn't work out. And then Call Me was able to do really well in the isolated 1v1, but yeah, my problem was just kind of conceptually how is the 2v2 going to work? The isolated 2v2 seems so tough, and when they get that far behind, Call Me had some opportunities, but I didn't feel like he did well with those opportunities. Obviously, the rest of his team was all very far behind. You know, Blabber was up like 1,500 gold. The bot lane combined was up like 3,000 plus gold. So it was always going to be really, really hard.
Also, Clip von Nilau von PB gesehen. Ja, hallo Mitch. Ihr seid 5 perfekte Fucks. Aber ist okay. Ich hatte keine Erwartung. Das war okay. Darf ich echt Max Range usen? Ja, also das hat mich auch gewundert. Würde ich jetzt auch nicht behaupten, aber ja. Wir sind 9 insgesamt. Bist du einer der 9? Bist du einer der 9?
I was hopeful that Sajed
9 pathetic fucks. Passt. Ja, okay, ja. The 9 pathetic fucks.
Start getting excited, thinking this is kind of a lane dominant pick. Like maybe they can do it.
But not against Ashe Seraphine.
Yeah, numbers don't lie. Ashe's stats here ridiculous.
Und dann hat der als 10. noch Person noch Carney, ja,
Game,
stimmt.
as you can see, just taking a look at it.
It's actually kind of crazier that Blabbers has done. Blabbers did almost as much damage as the Ashe.
Yeah, it is. It is insane.
I'm looking at that Sajed and Vulcan damage. That Seraphine going crazy there
Seraphine
too.
did as much damage as the MF.
Yeah.
That is actually wild.
That is the exact same damage between the two.
Is that a unanimous vote?
No.
Who's the Jack?
C9's
Vulcan.
been. Oh.
You know what? Fair. Vulcan also was
Love for the
there.
supports.
Yeah, he was.
And he was enchanting.
He was doing
Ash
his
can't do
best.
that if Seraphine's not
He
in
was
lane.
doing his best.
But you know what the real discussion is?
What
Who
the
is
real-
the better Scion? Because I don't know if you saw the APA interview. APA was talking about, oh, I'm always mad.
Ja, perfekter Name, wenn Carney Mod. Bin ich damit Teil von SK? Indirekt. Aber würde ich nicht claimen.
Yeah.
And then C9
Schwieriges Thema zu claimen.
video where Thanatos was glazing his Scion movement and APA was hyping himself up. But the Thanatos Scion was looking pretty good.
It was looking pretty good. I think you have to give it to Thanatos. I will say, Vulcan ended up winning the fan vote.
2% Thanatos, niemand ist mehr in
Too
Absicht.
many APA votes. I'm just gonna call it out right there.
Problem ist overhated.
I feel like he was protesting on the Cassiopeia because he wanted the
They've ruined
Scion.
their credibility by giving
Yeah.
APA votes.
Take it out of my sight. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to see the fan vote after what they did in terms of 16.7%.
That's crazy. That's actually kind of crazy right there. But you know, not to Vulcan.
We're not
We do
mad,
like
we're just
that.
disappointed.
Just a little disappointed. Sven for us, Vulcan for the fans. But either way, as we head to break, let's take a look at our comms replay connected by AT&T and voted on by you and Shannon.
Okay, Comms Replay, was?
Fighting bot. Okay, Herc. Could be 2v2. I can't come. He has a heal, but I want to go be smart. Yeah. I'll flash it. Don't think Muno's there. No flash. It's passing 2 zone.
Top Matters right now. Stimmt, oder?
Nice.
Wenn du Level 15 beim dritten Drake reinspawnen kannst als Renekton mit 2 Items, bist du nicht OP, oder? Hast recht. Dritter Drake ist nicht Toplane Drake immer.
Nice. What are we gonna do about crab? I guess we're giving it now. I'm basing it on this wave.
Edition on the Rift here today. Emily, is the Telluride just the obvious pick?
Well, Flowers, we're looking at a turbo hybrid powertrain. That's already a problem for the rest of the Rift.
And a 30-inch panoramic display too? That is unfair control.
Guys, all-wheel drive with terrain mode? No shot anyone's catching this.
Yeah, this seems complete.
Das Gute ist, eigentlich mettert er nur Sommer für Worlds Mitch. Voll okay.
Now, a Kia Telluride Turbo Hybrid. Pick it before your opponent.
Warte, manchmal sind sie volatile, aber sind sie das wirklich, oder ist es einfach so ein ERL-Ding, weißt du? Weil so volatile ist die Scheiße ja nicht, ne? So. Du droppst, also, ich glaube, das ist halt wirklich so ein ERL-Ding, wo dann halt also wo es dann halt eskaliert, so, checkst du? Also, Smiley? Ja, okay. Gut, ich spreche mit dieselbe Sprache, das ist schon mal etwas.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Rich in the ground before Dub can even get there. In time to try to knock out.
Schauen wir nochmal, wie es bei Wert, actually, interesseshalber. Wenn er den Smiley schreibt.
Get fed. Scan the QR code for deals only on Uber Eats.
What the fuck? Hä? Junge, was ist das für ein Roster? Dagegen habt ihr verloren? Oh mein Gott. Hell nah, bro. Was ist das? Was ist das? Was ist das? For fuck's sake. Was ist das? Seraphine ist useless oder was? In ERLs? Hä? Okay. Okay. Junge, schon wieder? Oh mein Gott. Oh Lord, he coming. Oh Lord, he coming. Okay. Komisch. Nein. Nein, nicht Olli. Junge, dagegen habt ihr verloren. Ach du Scheiße. Ach. Hat er kein. Okay, Loki hat er keine Gnade, wenn er. Also. Boah. Boah. Okay. Ja, okay. Hat zu Winning Matchups oder Losing Matchups? Ich sehe schon mal Varus, Sahen. Da ist schon mal mindestens 2 Games Counterpick. Dann Jax 3. 3 Games Counterpick. Und dann die hier Blind. Am besten Blind machen wir auch nicht. 4 Games Counterpick. 2 Blind. Minus 1 CS on Average. Okay. Oder 3 Mann 2 Times per Game? Okay. Okay, immerhin habt ihr gegen die gewonnen. Ich sag, no joke, das hätte ich dir nicht verziehen, glaube ich. Hätte ihr gegen die verloren, das hätte ich dir nicht verziehen. Da hätte ich Eternal Hate watched. So, Werbung, bis gleich.
Welcome back, everybody. After the games here today, make sure to check out the C9 Kia Champions.
Niski, Drew Levin Beef gesehen, ja, aber Niski ist ja ein Pathetic Fuck auch. Geht 0-13, guck mal, er ist halt legit ein Meme, oder nicht? Wenn er denkt, dass 0-13, dass du jemals 0-13 gehen kannst, wenn du es nicht willst, ist halt impossible. Du gehst nur 0-13, wenn du 0-13 gehen willst. So. Sag, jede Beleidigung gegen Niski ist eine gute.
Honestly, last time it was like neither of us were doing play-by-play. We were just kind of like yelling out stuff, which is perfect for ARAM Mayhem because a bunch of random stuff happens all the time too, right? So check it out. It's going to be a fun time. Now into draft.
I mean, kind of just yelling out stuff is what casting is.
I mean, that's my job.
Yeah.
My job is to just yell stuff out. That's the name of the game.
I just think with the augments, it makes it like particularly chaotic, right? Like, did you guys see the one where the Nautilus got like so much health?
Niski, LCS Support Gold, ja.
It gives you like both health and largeness.
Tank
he was,
engine,
like,
Goliath,
clipping
steal your heart.
through. Yeah, he was like clipping through the actual game.
I feel like every clip I've ever seen of ARAM Mayhem is just somebody bigger than the map. Like,
Yeah,
walking
exactly. And it's like usually a Nautilus.
The really big and the really small stuff is the most new.
Yeah.
Right. It's just funny. All right, let's go ahead and get into our draft. And Emily, you already mentioned it. We are underway here in game number 2.
Kiro, danke für den dritten. Sehr gut. Macht die 1250 Subs wieder voll. Lelek, wo ist dein Sub? Wo sind wir hier? Wo kommen wir denn hier hin? Sag mal. Wo kommen wir denn hier hin?
First pick, flex pick, Anivia, like you said, Jat, the bird can go.
First pick, Anivia ist krank.
As C9 responds. Last game, remember, Disguise first picked a bird, and then C9 responded with a power bot lane.
True.
And now this game, Disguise first picks a bird, and what do we get? Corki Nami from C9.
But now the bird is probably going into the bot lane. So I'm going to say, I do think, I'm going to make the assumption potentially going into bot. I think they should leave it up.
Mit Kopf.
Especially since Rise is still available. You might want to play the Anivia into that. But we did see Lions play this previously.
Scheiße.
I actually thought that they were
Wieso gewinne ich die Dinger nie? Ich schwöre, ich werde immer abgerippt.
FlyQuest bot lane. They didn't. They actually played that pretty well. Despite the fact that they did end up losing the game. So looking for a little bit more bot lane power
Ich werde immer gerippt.
on top of this Nocturne pick locked in for Cryra.
Yeah, remember that Nocturne was one of the champions banned in the second half of the draft in the previous game because C9 had their jungler in the first half. Disguise did not. This time around.
Nocturne, Caitlyn, aka Anivia. Was ist das? Och, Digga. Ja, Kopf oder Zahl.
So Disguise will get their jungler before that second part of the bans comes in, and C9 are going to go ahead. They'll say, fine, we'll
Kannst 1 gewinnen, Zahl.
We'll pick our mid laner. The jungle will remain open.
Geht später das Interview, ich habe angefragt. Ja, Rede, gewonnen. Ja, minus 500.
Some more utility picks. He's actually been
Hast du noch einen?
pretty successful on things like Malphite or Sejuani, so it's really hard to ban him out in this instance with them having the Annie locked in, which is also a flex pick. Annie's been getting more play in the top
lane. Jetzt kannst du auch noch was haben.
Especially over in like Korea.
Glaube ich, Kassa den noch bei der Wort versprochen. Reicht. Aber ist ja Flex noch theoretisch.
Keep an eye on it. I always like those kind of weird flex picks as they start to emerge to see who's going to be the first person to really start adapting this, seeing if they can make it work in stage games versus just in ladder games. With that Rise that we mentioned, that's banned away. So the Wukong going to be banned out now by Disguise as well.
Yeah, and I like that takeaway from Disguise. Obviously, Wukong, Annie fit together like insanely well in a variety of team compositions. Really great CC chain and follow-up. Especially in tandem with Nami.
Also Annie gegen Anivia zu picken ist auch krank. Warte mal, wait, ganz kurz. Wir haben hier Annie auf 3 gelockt. Gegen die 3 Champions haben wir Annie gepickt. Was? Habe ich wieder was verpasst?
So just yoinking that and being like, you know what, we're not going to pick it. We're going to take it away from you. And then taking away the Rumble from Castle, who I think has been like a bright spot, right? Like we talked about all of the plays that they were trying to make mid while C9 was kind of stomping on the bot side of the map. I thought Castle did well in his matchup. He had a few good flanks. He had some less successful flanks, we'll just say.
Bitte pick Bart und schickt die Anivia Mitte.
Taking that kind of power pick away from him, I think, is really good.
I like the cute Vayne ban hover before actually banning the Gnar. They're thinking about the Gnar Vayne matchup in the for C9 right now. You kill the Annie's flexibility by blind picking Gnar, so but it's also one of the best blind picks for Thanatos to do, so I understand why they would ban it away. And if they end up actually locking in this Ambessa, they'll still be able to hold their flexibility, which keeps their options open in this draft because DSG is still not committed either, and it'll be fully committed, generally speaking, after these next 2 picks.
Yeah, I do like the Ambessa here. The only thing that I don't like here is picking something that is
Jorik wäre ziemlich gut für Castle.
a top laner only, because I feel like you're losing your advantage of red side.
Oh, der auch.
Doing so. You want to
Och, scheiße, kriegen wir Blabber auf am besser.
Disguise. I mean, Renekton is kind of the evergreen, just pick it into anything top lane pick, right? So not surprised at all to see that one locked.
Die sollten Bart picken, die Anivia sollte Mitte gehen, die Anivia sollte definitiv Mitte gehen.
Potentially interesting stuff. I've been casting League of Legends.
Nicht Support Anivia, pick Bart.
Professional League of Legends. I know better than to get bamboozled by this now. I'm not just going to believe whether they hover. Okay, Akali locked in, which means that Anivia is 100% confirmed going into that support role for Lions yet again.
Yep, and they were going to be okay with
Ja, dann Toplane vielleicht, um die Scheiße zu retten, aber dann ist der Draft auch beschissen. Fuck. Auch scheiße gegen Nocturne.
Pretty happy with the matchup they're going to have into
Oh Gott.
Annie, and now we're going to see where C9 goes.
Schaffner, ja, okay. Okay.
We are going to see the hovered band that DSG can see.
Oh, nee. Nee. Wenn wir hier Game 3 gehen, deswegen. Nee.
Into jungle after the Renekton was locked into.
Kein Freund von dem Draft.
Trying to be sneaky.
Yeah, I love this. I think Thanatos continues to be one of, if not the best top laner in the LCS, right? Like, having a pick like this where he should be able to lane really well into this Renekton, it does take away a key component of C9's team composition, which is having a front line, which
Der
is
Draft ist so
kind of the
disgusting.
nature of,
Vayne gegen Renekton, Nocturne, oder? Und Akali? Vayne Sideline später gegen Nocturne, Akali. Wie soll das funktionieren?
DSG have a super heavy duty front line.
Wie soll das funktionieren?
So.
Vayne zu Renekton ist Vayne zu Renekton ist sehr gut, aber Vayne zu Akali Nocturne ist nicht sehr gut.
Where one is ranked very highly, C9 in this case, and one is ranked much lower in the standings by practically everybody's view of the power rankings, right? The team that's ranked lower, I always want to see them have more definitive go buttons. I want to see them have more engage. I want to see them be able to make choices when, where, and how they want to. But for Disguised, I'm kind of struggling to see where that happens here because I don't really know what the big engage is.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be difficult, especially if they do not get this bot lane going early, right? Like if that does not happen, if this Caitlyn and Anivia lane is not able to kind of take over the the map, and they aren't able to make those side lane plays with the Nocturne, I think it gets super difficult for DSG pretty quickly. And it is kind of sad because I feel like DSG when they first came in,
mal schauen.
the kind of like trust me dead ass team, right? With like the Nasus top, with believing in their selves. But Clayton, we're gonna revisit the blasting cycle.
Well, our question in game number 1 was, okay, Blabber blasted Griffin, Griffin blasted Kryra. Where does the blasting wand aim? Now here that we get to see Kryra versus Blabber, and unfortunately for the Disguise side in game number 1, the blasting wand was aimed right back at Kryra. That's actually a Seraphine encore flying out of the blasting wand from the bottom lane that had control the entire time. Just helped them extend their lead.
Ja, Ani, der bleibt OP.
And the rest was history.
Through the Xin Zhao as well, because Blabber did the most damage in the game along with Sven. They were both around like 26,000. But Enchanter plus Xin can also be absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Nasty.
On the team composition point though, Emily, I think the Nocturne Akali is hoping to just be dive buddy for any squishy.
Okay.
As long as Calmy can get into a decent position in the game. So if they're set up first in an objective and the Akali doesn't have to show, Nocturne ults as soon as the Akali shows, and they can in theory kill anyone in the game. So the bot lane sets all that up in the first place, but that is the idea. just doesn't have a good fallback pattern in terms of team composition.
Right, and that's where I worry. Because again, when you have a team that's ranked more highly, when you have versus a team that's ranked lower, generally that higher ranked team is going to be more consistent. So I kind of worry about, okay, well, if you don't have the consistency to make sure you get off to that good start, or at least the decent start that you need, and there's no fallback plan, I'm worried.
Yeah, and
Akali's grid is fine.
Lane right now, because as we see, the Renekton is not having a fun time
Potion up
in
noch.
the Vayne lane, and I think Castle has been kind of a bright spot on DSG, even when they've been struggling.
Komisch,
He
Koreaner.
was kind of looking like one of the potential answers in the last game as well, in addition to Call Me, and he's been one of their more consistent performers, and it makes this matchup against C9 particularly difficult just because of how strong Thanatos is.
Completely agree, and a lot of this comes down to Kryra, and a lot of these moves that C9 is pulling off are kind of
Immer noch Potion up, sie ist komplett fein.
So Thanatos takes top lane Vayne
Sie ist am chillen.
with TP, no cleanse. So in theory, if there's like a good gank timing, it's a flash W from the Renekton, and then Nocturne walks up and kills the Vayne. But if Thanatos ends up getting the wave too big or the health difference too big before Kryra is able to arrive on a Nocturne, who again is not a good pre-6 ganker, then that lane's going to go really heavily into the side of the Vayne.
So remember in game number 1, we did see around this level 4 point, Kryra coming mid, making that play onto APA, APA getting aggressive, trying to set something up for Blabber. APA ends up giving over the first blood. This time around, though, it looks like Disguise, they don't want to try to make that move against the Annie. Call Me is down to about half HP. They have to remember that C9 was also positioning Blabber there in the first game, so they're not going to force anything. Kryra's just going to go ahead, take his recall. You can see Blabber has already done the same.
Yeah, small little jungle optimization. Kryra knows that Blabber's going to be going Raptors Krugs. Blabber did a Raptors first start, which gets his second set of small camps to be up a little bit faster.
APA.
This window to game.
Okay, Lions throws out the wall.
Was war das für eine Scheiß-Kombo, hä?
Call Me is down to 200
Macht die ja nie wieder.
The Lions shows up mid and provides this little bit of extra assistance, this extra pressure. Call Me doesn't have enough health to work with to follow it up and try to threaten summoner spells onto APA, so the C9 mid laner is still doing just fine.
Yeah, it does relieve a tiny bit of pressure, although now Blabber is kind of...
Welche Aktivitäten passt?
Yeah, Blabber's not in a rush to finish his next 2 camps. He's been extremely efficient early on. Doesn't even have his wolf spawning yet, so he can really sit here without punishment just so APA can get this wave in, base, and then come back with full mana.
Yeah, and meanwhile, C9 and this quirky Nami have kind of taken over the push on the bot side of the map. At the same time, Lions roamed up, so that's not really coincidence, but...
And you can see as both of our top laners have now gone back and shopped. Castle has already had to go back twice, actually. You can see his teleport desynced from Thanatos's. But the difference is brown boots plus cloth armor versus full Berserker Greaves. Tier 2 boots versus Tier 1 boots. In these range versus melee matchups, the boots are so important.
Zeig weiter Toplane, wie gefistet wird. 16 CS schon ahead.
Pretty big.
It's just the move speed gap. Thanatos...
Wie spielt man eigentlich gegen Annie? In der Lane? Super schwierig, weil sie ist ein super overpowered Laner. Meistens musst du Mercs rushen.
And then I win. And that's what's
Du
happening
musst
right
meistens Mercs rushen, sonst kannst du nicht lanen.
now. Not in a rush.
Champion ist sehr, sehr, sehr broken in Lane.
For the extra jungle cookies to potentially do a smite fight over the Scuttle Crab, which is going to be spawning topside.
Akali noch mal eine Ausnahme natürlich, vor allem mit D-Shield und so.
Know each other's jungle paths right now. Thanatos with very
Ich würde dir sogar sagen, hier ist relativ wichtig,
on Gromp, so that's why he's pushing up so aggressively.
Ooh, Call Me going very aggressive on APA
Schön.
here. Uses perfect execution to back to
hier ist relativ wichtig sogar, die Grubbies zu bekommen. Ich glaube, Toplane kann so Progress machen.
It is an HP advantage for Call Me as he continues to try to play aggressively here with a smoke screen, but Blabber hits level 6. Public execution is ready.
And he wants to stop Drake because he knows Nocturne's not 6, and the
Schön.
only job he would have is to do Drake.
Schön.
And since DSG left the lane, it's obvious that he's there, so they're crossing.
Yeah, Vulcan down to 300 HP here. He does miss the
Gutes Decision Making hier.
but because Blabber is on the approach, because he has that level 6 versus level 5 that you're talking about, Jet, it means the Disguise has to back away. Now APA getting the better of Call Me here in the trade as both mid laners continue to fight for that pressure, fight for that control over mid. And Call Me's forced back.
It's the crab gap right there. He knew he was level 6. He knew there was no other job, and he's going for it.
Schön.
Immediately Blabber's ready to fight.
Revealed auch. Die Ulti von einem besser revealed, das heißt, die konnten dann weiter autodecken, ist gut.
Blabber to make the flash public execution on the target that cannot be missed, and C9 collects first blood.
Really nice to see that coming out of APA and Blabber. Again, off of the recognition from Blabber, he's able to go down, stop that Drake take, push up in tandem with the Annie. Didn't see the window the first time, got it down this time.
Now they do have to worry, though, about Kryra being level 6 and Blabber using his flash ult, so he's not really on the map. So it's definitely DSG's turn to do something, and Thanatos would be the one in danger, which is why he's going to control Vision River.
All right, 1.500 Gold lead. If I'm undisguised, I'm a little bit worried.
Wie crasht Vayne das? Mit einer Menge Respekt. Aber er weiß ja, dass Nocturne da ist, right? Also ist der Todesobvious oder nicht? Also er respektiert ja mit der Intention, dass Nocturne irgendwo da ist.
It's all that top side of the map that favors C9, while it's actually disguised with. It feels practically disingenuous to call it a lead because it's just a minion.
It's wave deep genug, it's still in pink ward.
But still, compared to game number 1, where you're down 30 CS and a level and a half, this is significantly better.
The absence of
Ganz Fanboy-Cases ignorieren. Franzosen auf Twitter generell immer ignorieren.
It is a lead. By a lot. Yeah.
80% Chance, dass der Take Low IQ ist.
Disguised will at least continue trying to maintain some control over this bottom side. We still don't have the first Drake taken. Remember that in game number 1?
85% Chance.
That first Drake ended up getting felled as Castle's going to pop the Dominus.
Eine Sekunde auf E.
Predator there onto Thanatos. A little bit of extra range that lends.
Wow.
Means that Thanatos
Balanced.
pressure, but Thanatos, he stays calm. Yeah. He doesn't pop Final Hour. He doesn't pop Flash. He's just
Habis balanced Item.
He really didn't want to have to use his ultimate there.
Habis sehr balanced Item, Mann. Das hat Flash.
He's going to give up Drake almost for sure.
Yeah, Kryra's down there at the Drake. He should be able to secure that one for free. Blabber's just going to make sure Thanatos can clear the wave, get the reset that he wants. Blabber just playing around his Vayne, recognizing that if you can get this guy fed.
Hat ja, muss irgendwo Verfahren geused haben, ne?
The grand scheme of things.
Yeah, Cannon Wave. That top laner's very appreciative of this. You never know if it's actually worth it. The top laners will say, yes, absolutely worth it. But it's worth it if Blabber doesn't die on Grubbies here, since now Castle's able to move.
Well, I think it also helps out because it gave Thanatos enough HP to no longer be under the threat of getting one comboed from Castle's Renekton if they tried to dive him. So then he can safely farm up the next wave, and now he can finally take his recall here.
Mag den Gamestate nicht sehr für C9 gerade. Kill hin oder her. Finde den Gamestate nicht so geil.
Set up a follow-up play, but it might just be a chicken steal instead. Nocturne, like most junglers, pretty adept at stealing chickens, since all you need is some basic AoE, and you're going straight to the kernel.
I thought you were going to make a joke, not actually talk about how easy it is to clear. I guess the kernel.
I said you're going straight to the kernel. Yeah, you're going to kernel standards, 11 herbs and spices. It's very important for your chicken clearing.
It is.
Okay.
It's actually so. Yeah, so unintentionally funny.
What do French Canadians? How do they eat chicken? With poutine?
No. I mean, you can put a lot of stuff on poutine, I guess.
Yeah, that could work. All right, chicken poutine for sure. Well, we have the Spear of Shojin completed there. MasterCard Power Spike for Blabber completed. Makes Ambassa just that much more obnoxious with all the dashing, the constant spamming of the spells. So definitely not a champion that I think any of the frontline wants to deal with here on the DSG side right now. Still advantages for C9 all across that top half of the map.
But neither team really has made a move to advance the game yet. It's been mostly trading back and forth with the one pick off in the mid lane. Here, Blabber got his chicken stolen, so that gives him a window to go steal blue buff. But at the same time, no one's actually contested an invade yet, and Kryra's yet to use that first Nocturne ultimate. C9 playing very conservatively with all 5 flashes up once Blabber's comes off a cooldown, but all solo lane flashes up is the more important thing to note. So it's really difficult for Kryra to find an ult angle.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking out for as well. Like Kryra trying to find these windows to use his first Nocturne out. Obviously didn't need to use it at uncontested Drake, which usually Drake fights is where we're looking at.
Ja, das Problem ist, die erste Nocturne wird wahrscheinlich eher einen Flash ziehen, oder? Das ist nicht realistisch ein Kill, außer Mitte Intet. Ich glaube, Botlane sollte realistisch eher ein Flash sein. Das heißt, wenn du sie jetzt benutzt, hättest du sie ab für den nächsten Drake und hättest potenziell einen Flash weniger auf der Botside von C9. Sehr gut. Das haben sie einen Counter-Gank gewinnen hier, to be honest, weiß ich nicht. Das ist kein Hexblade bei Nocturne, ja, aber trotzdem.
Yeah, but also their CC setup for the Nocturne is just so bad. There's no Nocturne Orianna combo, there's no Azir flip back. They have no way, aside from Renekton, of setting up any CC, and he doesn't want to spend that much time top lane because bot lane and mid would fall apart.
Well, as we're waiting on Nocturne to find that moment for the perfect first ultimate, remember that spring finals are going to the Mullet Arena in Arizona, June 13th to 14th. So you can go ahead and scan that QR code. Get your tickets now if you want to come out to a live event. They're always one of my favorite parts of the year. They're always a fun time. And we'll see which one of these teams, if either one of these teams, I'm expecting...
Fuck, Henry ist wieder nicht da, ne? Ich muss ihm sagen, dass er dahin soll.
Yeah.
Bin fun.
C9 will make it.
Yeah,
I'm expecting
C9
C9 to make it. I think most people that follow the LCS are expecting C9 to make it there, expecting them to be one of those top competitors. Disguised, of course, would love to be able to rock that boat a little bit, but they certainly have a lot of work to do after.
14 CS.
They've had moments of rocking the boat.
Yeah.
And then they just
Was wäre normaler Lead?
sustain that boat rocking.
Auf Top Vertigo denkst du 15 ist mehr als fein?
The boat just rocks a little bit, and then it just goes right back on sailing. Blabber missing the public execution down there, had that one a little bit askew. So I don't know if you guys have heard this before. I think I remember learning this on a Bwippo stream when I was just watching him play solo queue. Talking about Ambessa, with the way that the hitbox works, notice how you see most players try to take it at diagonal angles?
Yeah.
The line is slightly wider if it's diagonal because of the way it's actually lined up in little right angles.
Das ist gut zu wissen.
It gets
Das ist echt sehr gut zu wissen.
very slightly wider at a diagonal angle versus doing it straight up and down or straight horizontally. So a lot of times, if you can, you want to angle it horizontally because sometimes if it looks like it might slightly clip to the side, it'll still get the guy.
Man, I really want to believe this.
So do I.
I'm just not sure if that's how it works. We need to get Freak on the
practice.
phone. Someone who knows like how the hitboxes are coded. Because if that's true for every ability. Well, it's just you'll notice it more on Ambessa all because it's so narrow.
And I think that's what it is.
It goes into like a perfect straight line, yeah.
Calmy might just die here to the solo bolo of APA. No, okay, he gets away from the Tibbers. Tibbers is on a crazy full send mission here. But yeah, I think Bwippo, if somebody shows you this, Bwippo, if somebody shows you this clip and this sounds familiar, please send me a message to confirm or deny this because I thought for sure I remembered seeing this.
Oh no, I remember him saying this as well. I think.
I want to test it now.
Yeah. But yeah, you're 100% right, Jet. Like if it works on one ability, it works on all of them. It's just that Ambessa's ability is like a centimeter wide normally, so it feels more relevant.
And technically, Blabber's Rift Herald last week did come in the diagonal angle and still missed.
Yeah.
Which makes it even worse.
Because I still think it was aiming at the crust. I ran into Blabber backstage before this series, and I told him I was casting his game today.
Mir gefällt der State nicht für C9.
And I told him just make sure you drive that Herald straight.
Auch wenn ich 1000 Gold hätte, mir gefällt dieser Game State nicht. 5 gegen 5 hier oder was? Boah, wir TPen rein. Unserious. Todes unserious. Oh, ich hasse diesen Game State. Sajet, niemals stirbst sicher, Brother.
Meanwhile, Calmy looking for APA here. Kryra over the wall with a nice flash into the pit. Drags Kryra with him.
Ja, ich hasse diesen Game Set für C9, ohne Spaß. Ja, Sajet ist tot. Aber... Okay. Okay, hat er W ab? Er hat W ab. Oh mein... Okay. Sie gewinnen einen Fight, wo ich mir denken würde, das ist 50-50 Fight at best.
Right when it looked like Disguised might have got what they wanted and got out with an enemy TP, C9 finds a big fight.
This is how the game breaks open. 30 seconds after the Drake falls, the massive
also,
I mean, all credit.
Ja, ist sehr, sehr komisch, dass das zum Fight kommt, oder nicht? Super komisch.
Towards APA, like the flash that he had afterwards is huge. So essentially what happens here is Sajet potentially dead to rights if Thanatos goes all... Actually, no, he was out.
Ergibt keinen Sinn. Wow. Die Caitlyn ist reported. Deluxe reported. Wieso macht der Renekton so wenig Damage? Hat er seine Empowered gefailt? Nein, der hat nicht Empowered W'd. Deswegen.
Whenever you're up against Nocturne or Vi, any one of these types of champions that has to go with you once.
Der war noch nicht Base. Ah.
I always love to see players take.
Boah, der hat immer noch nicht seinen Stridebreaker. Oh my days.
Maokai with his W on Twisted Advance. Just anything you can do to drag that champion further than they wanted to extend, making the engage. It's always a big brain play that I enjoy seeing from our players. As C9 now command a 3,500 gold lead. That last fight resolved just in time. APA just being himself. Yapping it up in the alt chat. Nice, guys. Nice, real nice.
Where are the muted stats at? We were having those before the game.
Yeah, we need to bring those back.
After mid-gap, his mutes would have gone up by 1 in my book.
Jesus Christ.
That takes a ton of damage on that one. But no, what I was saying before, APA was yapping. Hold on now. We got the engage from Cry right here in the mid lane. Flash out from Zen, keeping himself alive. Castle versus Blabber up here in the top side of the river. Ace in the hole. That looks more like an auto attack than an ulti, but that's fine.
Yeah, and they are going to split tier 1 turrets on either side, but the big difference is C9 still have this Rift Herald, which is going to be crashed into this tier 2 turret. And DSG are not going to be able to do anything about that.
Yeah,
but that tier 1 turret does go down to the Akali.
They won the
Der AP von Leuten gemütet, ich glaube, der ist von 80% der Liga oder sowas gemütet. Wenn nicht sogar mehr, 80 oder mehr.
Guaranteed numbers advantage because it was just calling on the bot lane and it was Vayne Annie up on the top side. But this is part of what not burning flashes does to kill a Nocturne's momentum. Even though he landed an ultimate, Sven just kind of flashed backwards and no one is able to follow since this is kind of way too low of a CC team comp to work with a Nocturne who wants to find fights.
And this is what I was saying was my concern back at the very start of the game is where are your go buttons? Yes, Nocturne can fly in, but when they just do that, now DSG invading again, looking to try to steal away that chicken camp. Perfect execution, R2 from Call Me onto Blabber.
Jesus Christ.
Blabber, he's doing just fine. He will out.
Ich esse heute nicht gut. Wie lief's schon heute? War sehr, also, ich gebe einen Command an, du sagst mir.
The blasting cone is still on
Sag
the
du's mir.
side of Blabber, even though he's blasting players who aren't Kryra. So it's
Schlechter Tag zu hate-watchen. Schlechter Tag zu hate-watchen.
big misplay by DSG in this series is only Sajed, according to our producers, only Sajed has APA muted. So they're all just open.
So they're all just tanking
Open
the
lines of
APA
communication.
aggro.
Just psychic damage.
Boah, die tanken das, die nicht gemutet. What?
Okay, well, Sajed's got that going for him, but honestly, I talked earlier on in the game about how the bottom lane was holding more evenly in this second one. Now, ever since that big bottom side fight, everybody on DSG's behind.
Yeah, this game has exploded open for C9, as has the map, right? They just got that entire outer ring of turrets all down. They can now push their vision line up. It makes it a lot safer for someone like Thanatos to just be kind of in.
Wäre diese dicker Kiff weniger. Was hast du da gerade geschrieben?
1.5k over his lane opponent and in a really good position already with his hex plate complete.
Yeah, that hex.
Also die zweite Series heute Sentinels gegen FlyQuest.
And also, because you have the extra health on it, it just makes it that much harder for Renekton to try to burst her down before she just kites you. I mean, Vayne kills anybody in 9 auto attacks, and she kills a lot of champions in 6.
I know, it's actually a real pick now, which is kind of strange. I just think it's legitimate with this Hexplate build. You're ranged enough to get away with it, and then your team fights are enhanced because of the ultimate. So, big, I mean,
Bayern besser. Der Renekton sieht nicht sehr useful aus momentan. Oh, AP wird geflankt. Verlieren den Fight, oder? Vayne kommt relativ spät rein. Oh. Okay. Thanatos. Oh mein Gott, er stirbt da nicht. Oh mein Gott, das war nicht mal gut von Thanatos. For real siehst, das war nicht gut von Thanatos. Aber es mattert nicht. Okay. Aniga Support Roa get me out. Ja, aber das ist, glaube ich, relativ normal sogar, das Roll of Ages, weil es einfach billiger ist als ein Rocket Belt zum Beispiel. Es ist actually billiger als ein Rocket Belt.
Goes in, but C9 are able to kind of kite back really well. And you talked about this initially looked like a disastrous TP from Thanatos, and then here's just where Blabber absolutely takes over the fight. You talked about how he wasn't blasting Kryra specifically. He's kind of blasting all of Disguise.
Yes, they have a big goal lead, so take what I say with a grain of salt now. But there's an old rule that I used to have with Nocturne that I feel like was violated with this draft. I think this is part of why it felt weird to me. When things go dark, team want group.
Yes.
With Nocturne, pick AoE.
Yep.
But what happens if no AoE is team group and you lose? So in that fight, they got the one.
Meins Dominate, mein Goat. Dass Blabber noch lebt, ist so viel Selbstrespekt. Wirklich so viel Selbstkontrolle und Respekt vor seinen Mitspielern. Aber ist gut. Glaube ich, hat sehr viel Knowledge. Wie Support war nie wie First Pick. Ich könnte es dir nicht sagen, tatsächlich. Ich könnte es dir nicht sagen. Du erinnerst mich ein bisschen an ihn. Das ist sehr gut. Dann werde ich nämlich so stinkreich irgendwann. Check's gar nicht. Das ist sehr, sehr gut. Das ist sehr, sehr gut. Ich sag, deutsche Streaming-Bubble ist noch nicht bereit für so viel Negativität, weißt du? Deswegen muss ich das in Etappen reinbringen. Deutsche Community ist noch nicht bereit dafür. Oh mein Gott. Das ist kein gutes Vayne-Game bisher, oder nicht? nicht. Ohne Spaß. Die Vayne macht hier gar nichts. Noch mehr. Ich bin ja. Noch mehr.
Single time. Lions and Sajed still alive. Everybody else is dead. That includes the jungler. C9 back on the Baron.
Yep, they'll be able to get Baron off of this, and that's exactly what we're talking about with follow-up CC. Sven?
I think Sven's chilling.
He's got an obsession with taking mid waves.
Yeah.
Like he really wants to ego on these mid waves.
Yeah, and you can see, again, where Calmy was like, okay, I can get onto Thanatos.
Yeah.
I have the Nocturne in my back pocket. We can do this. But the rest of C9 is actually already moving up here to group. The Nami wave comes out. And again, even though Calmy is able to...
Wenn wir es zum europäischen Rioma. Tommy!
With the rest of to control the fight.
Yeah, really what Thanatos did with his stealth timing there made it difficult for them to kill him. Lions needed better as well because I think they could have killed him a little bit faster. That's not going to change the 7,000 gold lead and the overall.
Wen mache ich zu meinem Tommy? Weiß ich gar nicht, to be honest.
Anyway, and now we'll see what C9 can get done with this Baron.
Yeah, and unfortunately for DSG,
weiß ich gar nicht, to be honest. Muss ich drüber nachdenken.
That one dragon, it's not like Disguise can try to do some big Hail Mary play at the next dragon spawn to secure themselves an Ocean Soul and maybe claw back a little bit that way. So, unfortunately for DSG, it's starting to seem like the
Das heißt, da Chips. Chips. Lieder macht schon wieder.
Series that Cloud9 has played so far in spring to this point. So they had a big lead in their Sentinels game too as well.
Wallensdorf, ach Walle. Ja, Walle, mein Gott.
So it's not over till it's over, but they have looked very dominant in game 1 aside from APA's.
Boah, heute könnte wirklich ein 1 Uhr morgens Tag werden, ne? Krank. Das wäre ich glaube, das wäre der erste 1 Uhr fertig LCS-Tag seit einem halben Jahr oder sowas. Krank.
Yeah, I think that is the big thing to me, right?
Yeah.
Is like C9.
Spiel 2 Lanes, ihr Fox. Nur 15 Stunden, das wäre ein Träumchen. Nur 15 Stunden heute, morgen nur 6 Stunden, das wäre also ein Träumchen. Morgen noch abends frei, boah, das wäre wirklich ein Traum. Krank. Das wäre ein reines Träumchen.
Sven's the target anytime DSG looks at anything, but when he's got Vulcan right behind him, APA and Blabber ready to immediately burst anyone that dives under the Corki, it feels like an...
Wer es damit arbeiten? Auf gar keinen Fall. Ich sag, wäre ich morgen Abend früh genug daheim, würde ich vielleicht sogar noch Team Liquid machen, aber ich glaube, Finale beim Darts ist auf 23 Uhr sogar ist eingesetzt, also tote Nummer, oder 22:30 Uhr oder sowas, also im Leben nicht. Also auf gar keinen Fall. Ist der gerade in den Trap reingeultet? Also gepassivt. Oh, tschüss. Oh, Hölle, nein. Oh mein Gott, Sajed hat so Angst zu Autotech, ne? Ist geil. Es ist so geil. Ja, was morgen auf und sonst morgen ist nichts. Niemand morgen. Weder LCS noch LCS sind wirklich spannend, also lohnt nicht. GG. GG.
We posed the question at the beginning of the day, is the blasting wand a circle or is it a